So hopefully this stream starting soon screen is showing.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay, good.
Fucking dogs.
All right, we will throw the shout out to the sponsor here, Clown Vapes. Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
That way we don't do it at the end like we always do.
Yeah, that way we won't forget. All right, should show us on the screen here in just a second.
There's Clown. All right, so what is going on, everyone? I know y'all probably saw us for a little bit, but I forgot there's a delay. So what's going on, everyone? Weekend Wisdom, episode 25, halfway to 50, a quarter of the way to 100. We're getting there. But today we got a special guest, and of course, like always, we got this way. Yeah, I believe it's this way, or maybe this way. We got Shane Oakley, my amazing co-host. I thank him for always coming on. He's helping me always run this and everything. He's an amazing person, great advocate, great activist. And then down below we have the Reaper, and y'all might have seen him a couple times on another show, and y'all might need to go check him out today, or y'all should go check him out today on the other show. But we're gonna get into some topics today, and we're gonna probably go off onto some rants. And you already know we ought to just change this, the Weekend Wisdom vape rant instead of the vape show or vape vlog. We need to change this to the rant show because we love to rant on here and get our point across. But yes, everyone, we will be doing some rants today, of course. So first, let's
Always.
start off with some buffets. But before we get to that, I want to give a huge shout out to Clown Vapes for sponsoring this show. Use code WISDOM for 10% off on his website for any of his clown coils or any of his Mr. J's vape supplies. And if you forget that, it will be in the description. And that is code WISDOM for 10% off. Go ahead and check them out. Some amazing coils and some really good juice. And also, let's support those who support the community and the real cause of vaping. So definitely go check him out. Definitely go use that code and save y'all some money on some of that. But let's start it off and let's see what do you got going today, Shane? What are you vaping on, man? I know you got some new stuff in.
Yep. Well, we'll start out with the old staples. The Unity on the Shogun in there. Still got the merge transmission. Got my White Dreamer with the drop DHD nub tip in there. Got the Banana Land, hashtag Banana Land. And got my Mr. Just Right with the Dead Goat in there. I've got the Paradigm Wicked Berry and the New. Got the Overlord 21700 with the Drop Dead. Got the Ardent drip tip on that one because I haven't ordered a chop top for it yet. And in there got the Sad Boy Shamrock Cookie. And rocking in there got some Texas Cloudtown coils. So, and listen to this. So, they rock.
Crackly.
Yep. They're crackly and they're hot. I like it. So, and then I just got my Caliburn with the Solace Mint.
I love that Caliburn. Local
Yeah,
shops me just got them in. I got to play with it the other day. It's a really good draw.
Oh, yeah, I like it. So, well, Reaper, man, what you got going on today?
All right. Well, I guess, whenever I do these things, I'm not used to everyone being like, oh, what are you vaping on? And I never realized how many products I'm actually vaping on normally. I guess start off, I got the Mad Modder 4500 DNA 250 with the Scott Tua V3.5 RTA on it with some AJ Holland high ohm coils and
Nice.
Prohibition's Riding Shotgun, which is a golden Oreo vanilla pudding. I got the Innikin Z Beep It's a AIO device with a 2 mil pod, with some 5 Pawns Gambit, which is apple pie caramel vanilla. I got my billet box with some 12 milligram VV Vapes spearmint menthol.
That's a sexy billet box.
I know
Yeah,
that
I do
thing's
love
nice.
my billet boxes. And then I got this new IPV Yeehee ESS driver. I don't know. I picked it up at North Carolina. One of my buddies gave it to me. It's a automatic squonker, so it has a motor in it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
whenever you fire it, it actually squonks up. And I'm using a local shop, Fluid Vapor. They're number 2, and that is a pink lemonade. What else do I got? I think that's it. Oh, then I also have my Speedy Built 1800 DNA 250 with Inakin Zenith. Inakin Aries RTA with some more 5 Pawns Gambit.
Nice. Yeah, 5 Pawn. They've been around for a while. I remember those were one of the first companies I've ever seen who had like premium liquids.
Yeah, 5 Pawns, they definitely set the standard for e-liquid manufacturing. They've always been classy. They've always been beautifully labeled, very adult labeled. It looks like a bottle of wine almost. I mean, the packaging is just incredible. And I never really appreciated them back when I was, doing a lot of the cloud chasing and the super low builds. I just couldn't appreciate the flavor. And then when the whole NGOs versus FDA lawsuit came up, and they were like, "Oh, well, looks like we lost that one." I had a complete freak out, and I wanted to go buy a pack of cigarettes for the first time in 5 years. So I talked to some people, and they were like, "Dude, got to find something that's a full flavor, mouth to lung feel." And first company I thought of was 5 Pawns, and I went down and I picked some up, and I was able to curb that feeling of wanting to smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I tried their peanut butter flavor time ago, probably like 3 or 4 years ago, and I fell in love with it.
Was that? That's the Grandmaster, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Grandmaster.
Yeah, we've all had that feeling of, okay, screw this, I just want a cigarette.
Yeah, that's why, like I said, I used to be like really big in the cloud chasing, stacked, tubes, series, unregulated. But the problem was, I was a 3-pack a day smoker. I started getting really stressed out. I worked at a vape shop at the time, so the Juuls and the pod systems came out. So I was trying them out to see if they'd be a good fit for the shop. And I got hooked on high milligram salt nick really badly. So I had to kind of wean myself back off by using, starting off with 24 milligram regular nick again in 50/50.
Wow.
And then kind of drop down. And now I'm very happily at 12 milligram, where I don't want to kill people if I don't have it. And, I get that mouth to lung feel like I did when I used to smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Go ahead. That's what I try to tell. I have a coworker that's tried to vape probably 3 or 4 different times. He's tried to quit smoking and vape. And I keep telling him, go find you a little pod system. That's the key to it, is finding something that's going to mimic that cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes out and buys an Owl sub-ohm tank and a Smoke Pro Color. And I'm like, why in the world would you buy that? After I just, I gave you all this information, you go buy something that's totally not going to help you unless you're 6 months into vaping.
Right.
Yeah.
It's tough sometimes.
Whatever. Yeah. All right. So what I am vaping on today, I got the Turk V2 Inferno Chop Top Dreamer, all red, and I got the black button, matchy, and I got some strawberry Cinnaroo in there. I still don't really like their packaging. I know they took the kangaroo off of there, but the greatest still. One that I really like is this one, Icing on the Flakes. And I got that inside the Turk V2 with another Chop Top Stay Gold DHD on the NATO. This is like a frosted flake flavor, and it's really good. Next, I got the Unicorn mod, the new Vert Constant Contact with the Unicorn RDA, the 25 millimeter. Got that one, and inside that, I got some Prohibition Syntax. And then I got this Turk V2 with the on a green LE Dreamer. Inside that, I got some cucumber, watermelon, lemon, or lime. And then I got the Bonza stack with the unicorn drip tip. And inside that, I got some drip wicks, butter, pecan, caramel. I matched with the tip in the bottle. Didn't do that on purpose. And then I got a pod system. I got my Orchid pod system. I've been rocking this. I got some 10 milligram mixed with some Syntax, and they are both a peanut butter custard cookie flavor, and it's been rocking for a while. This is actually the same pod since I bought it, and I think it's been over a month, and this pod is still going strong. No problems, no burnt hits or anything like that. So yeah, I've been loving it. And if you want to watch the review for that, I've already put that out, so y'all can check it out, see if you want to go buy one. All right, so let's see. So today we're going to get into some topics. We're not going to talk too much about any articles or anything like that. There wasn't really too many new articles released, and the articles, the new ones that have been released, really haven't been stuff that we haven't been seeing every day, like a new indoor vaping policy or indoor vaping ban or anything like that. We've all seen those everywhere. So, I mean, to see it in another state, it's nothing new. We all know it's going to happen. We know the ones about whenever you're walking down the street, if you're not within 50 feet, you can get a ticket. We know those. There's some out there that get a little bit different, a little bit more odd with the rules, saying, okay, you can't be within a certain amount of feet where you pretty much have to walk in the middle of the road just to smoke or vape or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But we do have a couple of them, and then we're going to get into some other topics about laws and taxes and everything, and see what the Reaper thinks about them. I mean, if you watch the other show he's on, the Vaping Legion, you'll know a little bit more about it. You'll know a little bit more about what his stance is. But if you don't, we kind of want to give you an inside view of what he thinks on it, so that way y'all can maybe get a little bit more view of what's going on in his brain and everything.
That's a very scary place to be.
Yeah. I think in any vapor who actually cares about the community and cares about vaping, inside their brain, when you talk about laws and everything, is kind of a scary place to be, because there's some pretty terrible ones. So the first one we talk about is Alabama. So Mr. Shane Oakley, being from Alabama, been waiting for something to happen in his state, been waiting very patiently and not really wanting it to happen, but been waiting and had his stuff lined out and ready, so that way whenever it happened, he was ready to go. So Shane, if you want to drop the link to that one, you want to touch on that one a little bit, and I'll drop the link to the one in Vaping magazine, so that way they can have a couple articles they could read if they wanted.
You can go back and find it here, because
I think you put it in the chat on Zoom.
I did put it in the chat. There it is. Everybody can see it now. Nope, I don't want that. I just want to do this. Okay.
Also, please don't mind me if I look like I'm not paying attention. I have like my phone's blowing up with stuff for tonight's show, so I'm all over the place right now. I'm not used to doing a show in the middle of the day.
You're all good, brother. We're just glad you're here. So
yeah, thanks for having me.
They did pass some laws in Alabama. It's something, you know, I sent stuff in and I called and you know, I don't know how much stuff they got, but I never got a response from one person. It's nothing that, you know, new or anything that other states haven't done. They didn't impose any kind of tax or anything like that, thank goodness. But it requires vape shops to have a tobacco license, prohibits advertising for vaping and other alternative nicotine products as healthy options, regulation of e-cigarettes and vape products under the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, restricts selling of vaping and nicotine products to anyone under the age of 19. But here's the kicker. Violating this provision could result in a fine up to $300. It's like
30 days in jail
yeah.
also.
I mean, that's all you're going to get is $300. I mean, they make thousands off of these kids coming in here and buying this stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, $300. You know, for a fine, that's nothing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
They're willing to. All right, fine. Fine us $300. Shit, we'll make that back in half a day.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You know, up it by a couple of zeros, and then you'll have people understanding that they don't, that they shouldn't do it. No advertising near schools, opening vape shops within 1,000 feet of a school, child care facility, church, youth center, public library, playground, or park. And then this one's kind of weird. Limits billboard advertising for vaping liquid to offer for only 3 flavors: tobacco, mint, or menthol. And then it says critics said fruit flavored vaping liquids attract younger users. So I think they can still sell it, they just can't advertise that they sell it.
Well, that's the startup to them trying to do a full-on flavor ban.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, so some of those. See, my issue with those are, all right, so now are you restricting gas stations, 7-Elevens, other C-stores, stuff like that to pop up in those areas where they sell a variety of products, but they also sell tobacco products, they also sell vape products, you know? Or is it only limited to vape shops? Because if it's only limited to vape shops, you have a very good shot of being able to prove discrimination, and they could be potentially facing a lawsuit for that.
Yeah. So you can build a gas station across the street from the high school and sell cigarettes, but you can't sell vaping products. So here, take this, it'll kill you, you know, or here, take this, it's 95% safer.
Yep.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. But like I said, you know, I sent emails, I sent letters, I made phone calls. I never got one response. I don't know if this is something that they just didn't care. They were going to pass it no matter what. But nobody ever returned anything that I sent. So
Yes, they pretty much gave you some basic startup laws for a state that they're doing. One question I have is, did they give y'all any notice on how long it would be? Like, did they give you a notice and they say, okay, it'll be next month on this day, or did they just say, hey, by tomorrow we're going to be going over these laws and passing them if no one comes, type of thing?
No, I didn't see any notification. I just happened to follow it because I saw what was coming up on the next week's. Here's what's coming up for next week's meetings, or next week, the next congressional meetings. I think that's what they call it, gatherings or meetings or something.
Yeah, so you might have had like a 3 to 5 day window to see it.
And you know, people that don't follow it, you know, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna know unless you have somebody like me that goes out and tells people. And I don't know how many people around here are actually doing it. So that's
also, you know, that's why CASA is such an important thing too. You know, CASA is the ones that will put out those calls to action. They will notify you about what's going on in the area.
Right.
So if anybody watching is not a member of CASA, I recommend after this show, or if you're on a computer, pop open a new tab real quick. Go to CASA.org, CASAA.org. Join. It is free. If you want to donate a couple of bucks, you can. They speak on behalf of the consumers, and they will let you know about calls to action in your area, whether it's flavor bans, indoor vaping bans, taxes, any type of vaping legislation that could be harmful.
Right. And
all
also,
those are in the description too as well, so you can click. I got a couple advocacy places that me and Shane have came up with, so CASA is one of them. So yes, it is in the description as well. So I mean, if you want to go ahead and click on that, you can click on it while you're still watching the show as well.
Yep. And
make
sure.
You said this is Alabama?
Yes.
So that would be the BEAA, correct? Is the state advocacy group down there? Breathe Easy. I can't remember the rest of it.
Yeah, I've looked for state advocacy groups and I've never found one.
I believe it's BEAA.
But the second part to what Reaper said is make sure to join your Facebook groups for CASA. They have a state Facebook group for every state. They also need moderators for those groups to help post what's going on in your area. Which is
BEAA, Breathe Easier Alliance of Alabama, is the Alabama advocacy group.
okay.
So if you are a shop or a manufacturer, that is the association to join for Alabama.
Nice. See, Shane, you learned a little something.
Yeah, it's always good to learn something.
Oh yeah.
So, but like I was saying, they need moderators in those groups to help them from CASA because it's hard for them to moderate every 50 states plus their main page. So they ask for people to come in from the state to help moderate because there may be things that get by them because we've had this discussion before. People can't get mad if something goes on in your area and CASA doesn't notify you because they've got a ton of other things going on also. So it's up to us, not just us here, but us, everybody, to take a stand and speak for yourself instead of depending on somebody else to let you know what's going on. You need to be abreast of all the information that's happening around you. I'm sorry, words are hard today, but I'm doing my best.
Words are always hard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely go join CASA, like they said. And like Shane said too, the moderators thing. If you're someone who stays up to date with all your information and everything, send a message to CASA on Facebook. Damn it, I can't remember her name. Shane, do you remember her name off the top of your head?
Julie Wasner?
No, it's Kristen Knoll something.
Yeah. If you go to your local or your state or go to CASA, you'll most likely see a post from her. Go click on her, go send her a quick message about why you want to be a moderator for the group or anything like that, or why you want to be a part of it. And she'll get back with you and let you know if you can or can't. Like for me, like Shane, he got a hold of her and he got one for Alabama, Texas, which I tried to go for. They said that they already had enough moderators and everything, which is good because there needs to be as many as possible. But she said if there's anyone ever who drops out, she'll notify me. But I mean, if you're someone who does stay up to date with stuff like us, make sure you do go do that because there could, like Shane said, there could be something that slips through, or they might be busy for a week or that day or something like that. And you need to make sure that we're getting the information out as quick as possible. So I mean, use your platforms, use your ability. If you are someone who stays up to date with this stuff, this is one platform and one ability that you could really benefit from by helping others, not just yourself, by getting the word out there, because you never know, you might be able to inspire someone else out there to start Google searching stuff, or whenever they're using the restroom or they're just sitting on the toilet scrolling through Instagram, you might be the inspiration for someone to stop doing that and actually take that 5 minutes and look up an article. Because I mean, honestly, that's something I do a lot now. Instead of sitting there scrolling through Instagram, liking hand checks, liking cloud checks, or anything like that, I could sit there and I can actually go through and read an article real quick. In that 5 minutes, you're just messing around or whatever, or even on your lunch break. It's something that you could super simply, easily do. It just takes 5 minutes to read an article. And especially if you go to like Vape and Magazine or Vape News, you can go to those and they pretty much have the link to the article that you can read the full article on, or you can read their summarized article, which will be anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes to read. And it makes it super easy because they like to summarize it down to make it to where you're getting the most information in the smallest amount of time. And that's something that I like to do a lot because it helps out a lot. And yes, Toiletgram it is.
Also Twitter. Twitter is a huge platform right now. I didn't really know anything about Twitter originally when I joined it. But if you want to see what's happening on the political field, if you want to see what's happening in the industry, go on Twitter. You want to see all the ants groups, I follow all the ants groups, and trust me, I want to throw my phone across the room half the time, but you want to know your enemy. You want to know what they're saying. You want to be able to rebuttal what they're saying. some great, Kasaz on Twitter. They'll update calls to action on Twitter all the time. Gregory Conley. You have Alex Clark, Gregory Conley, the Vaping Legion's on Twitter. Matt Suck My Mods on Twitter, Grim Green's on Twitter. A lot of the big guys are on Twitter, and that's where you will find a lot of information.
Yeah, and sometimes you can find information there first from the political side and from the organizations, because they like to tweet stuff, and you might be able to hear it a day or a week or even an hour earlier than anyone else just by going on Twitter. So Twitter is something that's really great. And honestly, like whenever I'm reading an article, if I see like, oh, Senator such and such, and they have their name there, that's something I will and I'll copy it, I'll throw it into Twitter, and I'll search him. So that way I know who to follow, and it gives you more people to follow, because you can find the senators, the governors, the mayors.
Everyone's on Twitter. Every politician is on Twitter, especially your local representatives.
Right, and another thing that you may not know is if you don't know their name, you can search their position, and a lot of times it will pull up who it is. So that's a huge tool that I used to try to find people. Or if you don't know how to spell their name, if you search their position, it'll throw them up there.
Yeah, so Twitter is a great platform. And if anyone ever needs help with Twitter, Logan Exhales, I don't know if he's in the chat. I know he's probably still moving right now. But Logan Exhales, he is someone definitely who could help you out. He's really good with Twitter. I mean, he's helped out a lot of the people in the Stooge fam. So, I mean, definitely big thank you to him. But, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there that he can help out with. And just make sure, like we always say, make sure you're being respectful. You don't have to be nice, but make sure you're being respectful. Make sure whenever you're typing up a message or you're typing up a response back or anything like that, make sure that you're being respectful and make sure it looks good on the vape community, because that's something that they could easily use. Is if you're sitting there and you're being an ass or a douche or anything like that, they could easily use that against us whenever it comes time for them to use that in the court or wherever. And they could be like, oh yeah, well, look at this, they're all a bunch of disrespectful guys and yada yada. So I mean, that is definitely something right there that we need to make sure we're doing, because it makes us look better. It makes us, I'm not saying we're going to try to sit there and look as intelligent as possible, but just make sure we're being respectful, so that way we're actually getting our point across, but we're not sitting there and just completely ripping them apart and telling them to F off and everything. But use your words wisely.
I'm not going to lie, that's what I do. But I'll also be the first one to go to their offices too and talk to them in a more respectful manner, but at the same time making it known that I think they're an asshole. It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah, always make sure you're writing. This is something we always say. Make sure you're writing them. I mean, you can hit them up on the social media and everything, but make sure you're writing them. You're writing them letters. Make sure you're emailing them letters. Make sure you're calling. And if you're
set up appointments, don't just focus on calling and letters, because calling and writing letters is great, but what they want, and this is coming from politicians that I have met with, they love when constituents go to their offices, set up appointments, sit down, and talk to them. Because most of the time, the politicians have no idea what they're even voting on, what they're even talking about. They get handed papers and say, look at this, okay, we need your opinions on this. Well, shit, I don't know, hold on, let me go on Google real quick, or let me turn on the news real quick. And then they get their narrative that is sent to them. They talk to you, you can give them facts, you can give them studies, you can pull up the Royal College of Physicians, you can pull up the New England Journal of Medicine reports, you can give them the actual information.
Yep. Yeah, and that's always something good, because like he said, you never know, they could just be getting something handed down and saying, hey, well, we need to get this law in effect, and they might not even know what it is. They might just say, okay, well, yeah, we'll put it in effect. I'll give it to my secretary, she can write it up and we can have it posted, because half the time they're not the ones writing everything. So yes, it is definitely good to make sure that but like he also said, make sure we're being prepared and we have the proper facts and everything. So any links out there that y'all want to save, make sure you save them in a folder or something, because that's something super simple that you could just send over if you're having a meeting with them, saying, hey, I got all these links, just look at them, I'll walk through them with you and everything. But it is something that you could definitely use. And that's something that I honestly use as well. I have a couple folders saved with different links from different places and making sure that they are proper facts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and always make sure that you have your stuff together before you go meet with anybody. Don't go in there kind of willy nilly and just try to shoot from the hip, because a lot of times you'll forget something, or something won't get said in the correct manner. Notes, and like Anthony said, sensible. Well, how did he word it? Calm, logical arguments have the most power, especially with these folks. Try your best not to lose your cool, even if somebody is coming at you. And I told Reaper when he first came in here, I commend him greatly for the interview that we will not be talking about, but we don't want to give it any more traction than it already has. So, but
I mean, we could talk about it. We don't want to, I don't want to call them out.
Right.
I think it's actually important that it is talked about, and it doesn't matter if it was from me. It doesn't matter if it was from anyone else. This is something that we don't see as an industry. We don't get that publicity. We don't get that reach. I mean, we're at 1.97 million views right now on their video. Obviously you're going to have the idiots that are going to troll and pick up on the two things that I misspoke on because I was so focused on not punching the dude in the face.
Yeah.
But you're always going to get those trolls. You're always going to get those people that are going to say stupid things, and you can just look at what they say and you can tell what type of person they are. But what we need to do is we need to have that dialogue. We need to get that message across. We need to let outsiders know what this industry is about. Also, if you are unsure of any studies, if you are unsure of any facts or anything, you can always direct them to your local advocacy group. Your state advocacy group, either if it's, a smoke-free association or another advocacy group, you can direct them to that advocacy group. That's what that advocacy group is there for. They're there to fight for that state. They're there for talking to those politicians. I do it all the time. If I'm speaking to a politician and I don't have all the facts, I'll say, I want to have you reach out to the New York State Vapor Association and, shoot them a quick text. Hey, Representative so-and-so is going to contact you, or if you could email Representative so-and-so a bunch of information. I just spoke with them. They love to do it. That is what they are there for.
Mm-hmm. And Breestone's put in the chat, pretty sketchy when you get blocked by those on Twitter when you haven't even engaged with them. That is pretty sketchy. That is pretty sketchy if you get blocked by some of the politicians and stuff, especially. I mean, I'm not too sure if it's people in the States or people in Australia, but that is pretty sketchy, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it happens all the time. That's why I have like 5 different Twitter accounts. I have like 10 different Facebook accounts. If someone wants to block me, that's fine. I'll just create another one. All you need is an email and contact info on Twitter, and there you go again. But that just shows that the people have something to hide. It proves that they have something to hide. It proves that they cannot engage you with discussion. They cannot debate you. It just means that they're walking away.
Yep.
That's all. If someone blocks you on Twitter, that's all it means. It means that they're like, yep, I can't handle it. I'm not going to be able to win this battle, so I'm blocking you.
Yeah. They don't want to hear your side. Yeah, they don't want to hear your side, and there's a lot of people out there. Really, not just about vaping, but any subject. If they make up their mind, this is how it is, this is how I believe, and there's no change in my mind. That's the kind of people that we have to deal with a lot of times. But it just comes down to perseverance. You keep trucking ahead and you keep doing your thing, and eventually you'll make a difference.
Yep. All right, so the next article we're going to talk about real quick before we get into picking the Reaper's brain real quick. We're going to talk about Hawaii, and this article, I just dropped it in the chat. It says Hawaii heats up fight against vaping, and this one is from Angela Garrity, one of our amazing journalists in the Stew Crew fam. And it says right here that the statistics show that 1 out of every 6 middle schoolers in Hawaii has used an e-cigarette, and I will say that they have used. It doesn't mean they are a regular, but has used. So that means they could have picked up a jewel one time, hit it one time, threw it away, or said, "No, this ain't for me." That goes towards that statistic. And 1 in every 4 high schooler has vaped, and this is coming from a doctor and everything. We know how some of these go. We know how a lot of these studies do go, and I mean, a lot of these are bogus studies and everything. And it also says that Hawaii is the number 2 state for youth use of e-cigarettes and vaping. So, I mean, this is something that Hawaii is really, it's an ongoing battle with Hawaii. I know I'm not from there. I know I've never been there or anything, but it is an ongoing battle with them. We've seen articles in the past where they said, "Oh, they made a joke where, oh, we're going to up the age to 100 for legal or for someone to be a legal person to buy cigarettes." And honestly, I mean, we got to look at it as, oh, haha, it's a joke. But then again, we got to say, okay, well, maybe they might not be joking around about that. So that's something we definitely need to look at. I mean, I'm all for them raising the age up to 100 for cigarettes, but not vaping products. But I mean, it's pretty much whatever you want to do. It's your body. If you want to use a cigarette, you can go ahead and use it. But we want better health out there for everyone. So that's why we are doing this. So, I mean, we all know how the studies go. We all know how they pretty much sit there and they make BS statements, and they pretty much don't really do actual statistics. They just go off of the one that they want to go off of. They don't go off of continuous vapors or repetitive vapors or people who do it every single day. They just go off of, if you've hit it one time and you answer yes, that is going against the number. And honestly, it could be they could only be doing this with 4 people, and that's how they got the 1 out of 4. You never know. So I mean, it's a pretty. We've seen how the numbers go through. So I mean, if it's 100 people and 25 said yes, then yes, it is 1 of 4. So I mean, it could be one person out of the whole 4 people that they did the study with. I mean, we all know how these studies go. We all know that some of these are paid for and everything to make vaping look bad, and especially like the ones where they're taking a vape and they're burning it with cotton and they're not putting any juice on it. They just keep holding it down, and then they're saying, "Oh, well, we're getting bad chemicals off of it." Well, yeah, of course you are. You're going to get that off of anything that gets that hot with no liquid on there. So, I mean, we know how these go, and this is something I really want to touch on too much, but it's just something that we all need to make sure we're paying attention to in our area, because whenever stuff like this does happen, this is something like what we said you could go to on Twitter, and you could write that politician and say, "Hey, man, why are we releasing out BS studies? We could be definitely using our money for a way better thing, like actually looking into cancer research instead of trying to figure out a way to get rid of vaping. Or we could be on improving the roads or improving the environment, whatever you want to, whatever your beliefs are and whatever you want to see change. That is something that you could bring up to that politician on. This is something that we could definitely use our money towards instead of trying to get rid of vaping because teens are being stupid and vaping. Yeah, we could still eliminate that and not have teens vape, but we also need to make sure that we're keeping it in front of us that this is not the only big thing, because I mean, there's not really a huge epidemic, even though they want to emphasize on the word of epidemic. What's the other part on it? Yeah, and then it says a bill to ban flavored tobacco products in Hawaii was shot down at the legislature early this year. State health officials say they'll be back next season pushing for it again. So, like I said, this is something that we all need to make sure we're paying attention to, because you see it happen in one state, the dominoes will start falling with the dominoes.
Start spreading all over the place.
Yep.
Like we've seen it in California, where one city, then it goes to another city, then it goes to a whole county, and then now look at Massachusetts, where they're having a whole statewide, and then you see it going everywhere. So I mean, this is something that we definitely need to keep in front of us, because if we, like, I think it's Sean Typhon who says, if we give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. So yes, we still need to fight, even whenever there is reasonable things happening, we still need to fight it and make sure that we're saying, okay, this is reasonable, but we need to keep it here. Because if we keep letting them say, okay, yeah, well, that's reasonable to them, let's up it a little bit. Mm-hmm. Then what are they going to do? They're going to keep upping it and upping it and upping it till eventually, whenever everyone who's in the vape community is out of a job, And I mean, like we've always said, that could be people's whole life savings right there that is just down the drain because people want to come in and make statements and try to have organizations to fight things like this. That is a harm reduction product that is 75% healthier and safer for you than any other product, and 2 times more effective NRT as well. So make sure we are staying up with our local news and everything, like the Reaper said and Shane said. Make sure we're keeping up with everything on CASA. Make sure we're keeping up with everything on all the other organizations, and try to help out as much as possible. If you have extra time and you can donate it, make sure you give that extra time. I mean, the one argument that some people might say, and if you are saying this, you're in it for the wrong reason, is, oh, well, I don't work for free. Well, this is something that you pretty much owe your life to because
that's what I gotta say. If someone says, "Well, I don't work for free," fuck you. Legion
Yep.
is a 24-7 job that we don't get paid for. Advocating is a 24/7 job that you don't get paid for. What you're doing is you're fighting for your right to vape, along with the lives of millions of other people. So if anyone wants to turn around and say, "Well, I don't get paid for this," my time isn't free. Fuck you. Stop being about yourself. Be about something bigger, and stop being a fucktard.
And
Wise words, Reaper.
one thing you want to think about is when you're advocating to somebody and you tell them, "Hey, I don't get paid for this." Think about the impression that's going to make to that person. I'm not being paid by anybody for anything. I'm just here because I want to speak for everybody in the vaping community. Think about the impact that would make to a representative, a mayor, it doesn't matter, any kind of legislator, because a lot of those guys, they're influenced by that almighty dollar. The lobbyists and stuff will come in and get them on their side by padding the pocket. To me, it's more impressive that somebody comes in, "Hey, I'm not getting paid for this, but I just wanted you to know this information so that way you could have both sides of the coin to look at." And the other side to that is when you're talking to another person, say somebody talking to you in the vape shop and advocacy comes up and you start spouting off all of this, the first thing that probably pops into their mind, well, this guy must work for one of these advocacy groups and he's trying to tell me all this because he gets paid for it. And then they realize that you don't get paid for it and they're like, "Oh, well, he's out here on his own time doing all this." Think about the...
Change messing with the connection.
Okay, now it says it's back up.
All right. We'll give it a second, make sure it pops up over here. Too bad it wasn't just podcast for us. We could have podcasted it there for a second.
Yeah.
Refresh it.
Yeah, hey, we did all right. We made it 50 minutes or like 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think we might be back.
Yep, looks like it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
A bunch of us going, huh? What's going on?
Yeah, no, we're all looking at...
All right. So we were talking about how vaping saves lives and how we kind of owe our life to it. So now let's change pace a little bit and let's go and let's talk a little bit about what we think about, or what we're trying to get Reaper's thoughts on some of these new laws. And this is where it's probably going to get a little bit more ranty because this is personal opinions and this is subjective opinions. And honestly, we this show is pretty much just rant fest. So I mean, this is something that we're definitely I always look forward to, and it helps out with people's personal opinions on everything. So
yes, I do have to make a quick disclaimer. My opinions and views are my own, and they do not reflect on the Vaping Legion in any way, shape, or form.
Yep. And they're like you said, this is his own opinion, and I mean that's something that everyone's got to respect. Even the people, the politicians and everything, they have their own personal opinions. Any anti-group, they have their personal opinions. I know we do not see eye to eye with them. It's not a might not. We do not.
Their opinions are based off of. Hold on. See, I really wanted to believe that about a lot of things, but their opinions are based off of the information that they are fed, and the information that they are fed is not always accurate. And I don't want to believe that about a lot of things, but their opinions are based off of the information that they are fed, and the information that they are fed is not always accurate. And I don't want to believe that about a lot of things, but their opinions are based off of the information that they are fed, and the jobs that they make, the jobs that they do. I mean, for example, you have Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids and you have the Truth Initiative. The Truth Initiative is from the original MSA agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids is supposed to be about stopping teens and kids from smoking, but now has switched over predominantly towards vaping. Yeah, the CEO or the president or whatever of Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids makes a shitload of money. I'm talking like over $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
So their interest is not to get rid of the product that they can fight. So they want it to be around, but they're just trying to make it very hard for us.
Yep.
Yeah, they just want to tax the shit out of it is the problem.
Well, taxing's so we're going to get hit with tax. I mean, that's something that's going to happen. And honestly, that's something that I know this splits a lot of people. That's something that needs to happen. The reason I say that it needs to happen is because in a perfect world, we wouldn't be taxed for being a harm reduction product. We'd be able to be deemed as a harm reduction product, be able to be deemed as a smoking cessation product. Obviously, with the FDA, that's not the case with us. We're deemed a tobacco product. Now, because if you look at patches, gums, lozenges, nicotine inhalers, etc., they are not taxed. They are not subject to tax. So why is our industry being taxed? Well, that basically breaks down to MSA payments. You'll notice that a lot of states that are not going after taxation are the states that do not have bonds put up against MSA payments. They're states that settled for very little for MSA payments. Now, since we don't live in a perfect world, a reasonable taxation is needed to keep us protected. For instance, New York State, we are at a 20% tax. Well, we are going to be at 20% tax on e-liquid, whether it has nicotine, no nicotine, flavored, unflavored, PGVG with nicotine, whatever the hell it is. 20% tax across the board on the retail end. It's not unmanageable. We just go back to pricing back when it was 2014, 2015, before these cheap-ass 60 mils and cheap-ass 100 mils came through and basically screwed up the whole industry, and it became a race to the bottom. But what that tax should do is that should protect us. They don't, once you get the government making money off you, they don't want to put you away. That's why I'm not really too concerned about a flavor ban happening in New York State. Am I worried about counties and towns and cities? Yes. State, no. Because they want that 20% tax. They want that 20% tax on, the e-liquid, because that's what everyone's going to be doing.
Yeah. And actually, you know what, Shane? We need to make a bumper for this, or just like a little screen, and just call it free for all. That's what we're going to start calling this part. So we kind of talked on taxes on this. And so what are your thoughts on the on tobacco 21 and being 21 years or older? And do you think that there should be any exceptions for like military or anything like that as well?
Okay, so I'm not very political, but if I was to put myself in a spectrum, I would say I'm very much a libertarian. I have a huge issue with tobacco 21, mainly on a moral standpoint, because if you are 18 and you are legally an adult in most places, besides those that have the weird rules about 19 or 20 or 21, but if you are able to be tried as an adult, if you are able to pay taxes, if you are able to get married, if you are able to sign a contract to join the military, you should be treated as an adult. So I don't believe in tobacco 21. Or if you are going to make it tobacco 21, then you need to increase the age of everything to 21. I mean, we already have alcohol at 21. Yet again, alcohol causes more harm than good, while vaping causes more good than harm.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of touched on that earlier with a whole different public health versus privatized health, et cetera, et cetera. If there is going to be a T21 on a federal-wide level, which I really believe that there will be, then there needs to be a military exemption. And not and I hate the whole argument of, oh well, if I'm 18, I can join the military. Great, join the military, then get your exception.
Mm-hmm.
I believe if you are currently serving, if you have served, then you should be exempted.
Yeah, and one of my things on that too is you touched on like marriage and all that. You can pretty much your whole life at the age of 18, but yet you can't vape or smoke cigarettes or anything like that. To me, that's total BS, because you can go and you can apply for credit cards and screw up, and everyone says this, credit is everything nowadays. And you can pretty much screw up your whole life really quick at the age of 18, 19, 20, but yet you don't have the option to smoke or vape. And to me, that's just crazy. That's crazy in my eyes. So we have a question from Anthony, and he says, should we tax zero nic liquids?
I mean, all right. So the issue with, so one of my brothers in arms, Sherwin Mena, over in North Carolina, he is the head of the North Carolina Vaping Council, and he has the only vaping political action committee. So they have a 5-cent per mil tax on nicotine in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. That was the only thing that went through. And after that happened, the North Carolina Vaping Council was founded. So when I used to work at an e-liquid company, and I would be dealing with shops in North Carolina, they said, well, shit, we get taxed per mil on nicotine. So send us zeros. And what we're going to do is we're going to put nic shots in it. That scares the shit out of me. Now, for anyone who works in a shop or has had general dealings with the general public when it comes to vaping, we have people that don't even know how to screw in a goddamn coil. And you want them to be putting nicotine in their liquid, and we're trusting that they're not going to fuck that up? Hell no. Plus, the nicotine that are in pouches sucks. It's harsh, it's peppery, it tastes like shit.
Yeah.
So you take a premium branded e-liquid and then you add shit nicotine to it, you're going to fuck the whole thing up. So I believe if we're going to do a tax across the board, then it needs to be across the board, including zero.
Okay. Yeah, because that was one thing that Turk was talking about last week. And it was pretty much like they're just taxing the how big your bottle is. So if you have a 30 ml bottle of 50 milligram nic salt, is getting taxed less than what a 0 milligram or 3 or 6 milligram 120 mil. Mm-hmm. And to me, my views on it are kind of, I think that 0 milligram should still be taxed if we're doing a tax all the way around the board. But then again, I also think that
now if you want to hurt Altria, and you want to hurt the tobacco company pod systems, mm-hmm. you tax it per milligram.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think.
Now you're going to be looking at, but at the same time, then now you're also hurting those that are using high milligram e-liquid to get off of smoking.
Yeah, true.
So that's where it's really, taxation is a really hard thing. That's why it should just be a general 10% across the board. Yes. I mean, if you think about it, they're going to make their money off it. Shops are going to stay in business. It's going to be able to also cut out the bad players, mm-hmm. the bad actors, because they're not going to want to pay that. So they're just going to shut down and move into a different industry.
Right. Yep. Well, that's, Turk brought up a point last week about the 10% or 10% per meal, or 10 cents per meal in mm-hmm. New Jersey. You got to think about, these things hold 2 meals. So it'd be 20 cents. This is a 60 ml bottle. That's $6. So you can sell 100 of these at 20 cents a bottle, and it's $20, where you're paying $6 extra for one bottle of liquid.
And let me tell you, coming from ex-e-liquid manufacturer too, your average wholesale cost is anywhere between $6 to $8 a bottle. So you are literally paying wholesale in tax.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's just disturbing to me.
Yeah.
And think about who is that? Is it Wisconsin that has the 92% wholesale tax?
That is I know Vermont or Maine just got hit with that.
Yeah, I think it's either Wisconsin or Minnesota. It's one of those two.
I think it was Minnesota.
Minnesota's at 92% wholesale tax,
which is just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. PA got hit with 40 across the board a couple of years ago. They got hit with the retail, the wholesale, and the floor tax.
Yeah, and in
and
Vegas
that shut down.
Yeah, Vegas got that 30% not too long ago.
Yeah, so it's obviously making shops shut down and manufacturers shut down, and the manufacturers to have to move, which is obviously hurting them because, like we talked to a couple other people, how they're having to pretty much pay thousands of dollars just to be able to move their facility, get it all approved again, get it to their standards, and then start manufacturing again.
Yep. You got to get it certified. You got to get all new, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Getting a certified ISO lab is astronomical.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and that's another thing, too. So we as an industry, we don't even have standards for manufacturing.
Yeah.
In the whole time that the vaping industry has been around, we have one standard, and that's GCC caps. That's it. That's all we have. That's all we have. We don't know, should it be ISO? Should it be GMP? Should it be pharma? Should it be, there's no standard. No one can get along and agree with anything.
Right. And that's where, Shadowlink Vapor talked about it a while ago, reasonable regulations or reasonable taxes that needs to be put into place. We don't need people making bathtub juice or toilet wine, anything like that, and trying to sell it to people. I'll
shut that shit down fast. The Negan Dash Glenn said in Walking Dead.
If I only buy from trusted manufacturers, people that I know of that I understand and I've heard good things about. That's the reason my e-liquid is, I don't really branch out too much. Once I find something good, I'll stick with it. And it's kind of hard to navigate through that because you never know really what you're going to get. I've tried some different things. Vape Wild was a big one that I tried, and that stuff was so harsh. It was very peppery.
I do not recommend Vape Wild.
No, I don't either. I did an order for like one sample pack, and I was like, nope. You could put their 3 milligram in a pod system, and it'd give you a throat hit.
Yeah, the sample pack brings back a little bit of memories from Houston. We did a drunk juice review on Vape Wild for Vape Wild at Houston, and it was kind of fun, but their juices are a lot of
natty ice with that.
We were having some what are they, hopadillos, but it's a little different. I'll tell them that it's a little different. There was one that I actually liked, but it was a little different. And I know Stan was saying the same thing, but I mean, that's one thing that I've been big on doing lately. I've had a couple buddies give me some juices, like 2 or 3 of the juices I have right here. One of them was sent to me by the actual manufacturer, and 2 of the other ones a buddy gave me because he didn't like them, and I actually kind of thought the flavor was good. But as in purchasing and me spending my money, even in mods and stuff, it's not going towards places that I don't believe in no more. If you have the time to me, it's if you don't have the time to send out an email of, hey, we're going through this big crisis in the vape community. We really need help. We need everyone to advocate. We need everyone to be on their game for activism and everything. If you can't
be bothered to do that, why should I support you?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. If you can't send out one email a week or even a month or even daily or something, because you're sending out 3, 4. My email, I have 2 emails. One is like I subscribe to whatever companies and yada yada. I get probably at least 50, 60 emails a day from vape companies and from different manufacturers and everything. And then the other one is the ones I actually trust and I actually believe in, and they're actually doing the right things. And I'm getting 50, 60 emails a day, but maybe one might have, even if you throw it in the bottom of your advertising, a little box saying, go to CASA, or here's what's going on in our local state or maybe in your local state. Go to CASA to figure out calls to action. Just something super simple, even on your website. Like I think it was Phoenix Vapor, what they were doing. I don't know how long they were doing it, but whenever I clicked on their website before they shut down, they actually had an advocacy page on their website, and I've seen it on a couple others, and they've actually had the little part of what's going on locally right then and there, so that way you knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
And to me, just spreading the information that way is super simple and easier. As soon as you pop in, after you do your I'm over 18 years or older, and you put in your date of birth, right after that, something else pops up or something else is at the top of the screen instead of showing, oh, hey, go out there and buy this juice or this mod or whatever. It actually shows, hey, advocacy, be a part of it, and here's what you could do to support your local vape community and everything. Honestly, I think that right there would make it so much easier, and we'd be able to fight this so much better because we would all be united instead of trying to fight different battles.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. Bogan takes 30 seconds to 2 minutes out of every video to talk advocacy before he even gets to the product, and that's huge for me. I support him through and through because he does take time to do that. And I know they're going through stuff over there, but he talks about everything. Not just what's going on where he is. He talks about what's going on here and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because, I mean, if you could see people, I'm not just saying reviewers and stuff like that, but people like Bogan, people like Turk, Brees, people out there who are, they're a pretty busy person. Like they're running their own company, Eric Vinyl and Vapor, Grim Green. If they have something that they're doing and they are extremely busy, but they have the time for 5 seconds to repost something or even post it on their story, or even make a little quick video on their story or on their page saying, hey, well, this is going on, we really need to go fight this, here's a couple links you can do. Something as super simple and easy as that, and those people are really busy, and we are just everyday consumers, and we can't do that. That's sad, honestly, to me. If you can't go out there and you can't just repost something, and I'm not saying Instagram's the best place to do it, but it's somewhere to get people's attention. If that's your platform and your way of doing it, then we need to make sure we're using it. But Twitter, like we always say, Twitter is the best place for getting information out, because you can actually post links with stuff as well.
So here's the problem with that. And I don't put down anyone actually, making an attempt to do something. But here's a problem. Say you make a post on Facebook and you share it, or you make a post on Instagram and you share it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to see it?
Vapors.
The same
new
people.
hashtags.
We will be going into the echo chamber all over again. All we are doing is yelling at an echo chamber. What we need to do is we need to get out of the echo chamber, and we need to talk to non-vapors. We need to talk to smokers. We need to talk to non-smokers, because right now, where it stands, the majority of the outside public thinks vaping is as bad or worse than smoking. Think about that for a second. Just think about that for a second. The majority of the population outside the vapor industry thinks vaping is as bad or worse than smoking. So we are yelling into an echo chamber. We are posting around the same people. We are doing the same thing over and over. We are not getting our message out to the people that we need to get the message out to. Give me 1 second. I have a spider crawling on my wall, and I am not having that.
I don't blame you, man. Spiders.
He was literally just crawling across my entire wall, and I'm just like, you're about to go behind my blinds, and then you're going to go under my bed. No, we're going to stop that right now. But in all seriousness, we need to get out of the echo chamber. We need to go out there, and yes, sharing posts, yes, doing stuff like that is good. However, we need to do more.
Yeah. And
we've been needing to do more. And what we need to do is tell our stories. What we need to do is engage the outside public. What we need to do is go to politicians' offices and talk to them.
Yep.
That's the only way this is changing. We need to have conversations and dialogues. Sharing a post is great, but it gets lost, and it goes into the echo chamber.
Yep.
Yeah, and I've said this before. Who do the antis go after? They go after people that have never smoked before, people that don't know anything about smoking, people that have never vaped, don't know anything about vaping, and they give them all this information and they read it and believe it. They don't have the other side, and that's what we have to do. We need to reach those people, because if we're going, we're in that, like Reaper said, we're in this echo chamber and we just keep talking to each other. We're not making any difference. We're not making any headway. Everybody knows what everybody else knows in the vaping community, except for the newer
Or
vapors.
if you don't know, you're just not going to get it at this point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I fully agree with
if you
that.
haven't been listening for the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a year, however long you've been doing it, especially since the beginning, if you don't get it by now, you're just not going to get it, and you just need to sit down and get the hell out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, we have to take the same approach that the antis do. They go after anybody that's going to listen, and we have to kind of take the same approach. We don't want to be overbearing, but we want people to understand, and we want people to see the true facts. The truth manipulative is out there making a difference simply because they're able to manipulate everybody's opinion. And I don't think we need to manipulate anybody. We need to state the facts unmanipulated after they're finished talking to us.
And they're honestly getting, where are they going to get this information to get manipulated? They're not going to social media. And yeah, if that's your platform that you use social media to try to get a word out there. Use different hashtags, use motivational hashtags, healthy lifestyle, freedom of speech, whatever you want to use. But where are antis going? Are they going to social media to fight this, or are they going to the general public on the TV, or are they and they're going to the politicians themselves, like what we should be doing? So
we're busy yelling on social media. We're busy in the same echo chamber that we've always been in. Meanwhile, they are literally taking the fight to city halls. They are taking the fights to the capitals. They are taking the fights to the media. And the problem is we're in an uphill battle there, because no media station is going to want to run a positive interview on vaping. No media station is going to want to actually listen to the facts, because they're all bought and paid for by big pharma and big tobacco and politicians. So they will not report the truth. So what we have to do is we have to engage the general public. So at Vapors Carnival, North Carolina, we stated that we are planning a rally in Washington, D.C. We are going to be doing a rally in Washington, D.C., and we are going to get the media involved. We are going to get everyone that we can to show up. If we could get 1,000, 2,000 people there, that would be amazing, because we need this. We need this PR push. I mean, the Barstool interview was a huge breakthrough. It was probably one of the best PR pushes that we have ever had as an industry. So we need to go further than that. We need to bring the fight to them. We need to be on those steps of the Capitol building. We need to be on the National Mall. We need to be making noise. We need to be giving our testimonies. We have to be making an example. Let them know that this industry is about saving lives for adults. We don't want the kids to vape. We don't condone underage vaping. We want to save the parents. We want to save the grandparents. We want to save those that have been addicted to smoking. That's what we have to do. That's the message that we have to convey to everyone, everywhere.
Yep. And do you know? Okay, so I know y'all have talked about it, and y'all have made it to where y'all there's people who know about it. Whenever y'all do send that invite out, or whenever y'all do have all this organized for the exact dates, make sure you send it to me and Shane, and we'll be sure to share that everywhere, because this is something that we need to do. Because, like I just said, we need to make sure we're getting to the politicians, because most politicians don't use Instagram. And
No,
there's a good
that's
reason.
why Twitter is very important. They use Twitter.
Yep, and Twitter. I mean, you could share links. I mean, that's something right there where you could share it as well, and we could spread this super quick. And I can't remember what show it was. I think it was Vaping with the Omies or the Green Room or something. Instead of spending your money on going to a vape show to try to get juice for wholesale price or products at wholesale price, which sometimes, I mean, you don't even get them at wholesale price. You get them for the exact price you'd get them online. Save up some of that money. Instead of doing that travel to DC, and let's all fight this together. Because something that me and Shane love to say is we need unity in the vape community. And if we don't have unity at this battle, and we are fighting separate battles constantly about bickering about no mouth to lung, no pod systems, no fuck pod systems. If we keep fighting those fights instead of keeping our eyes forward and fighting the big battle that we need to be fighting, and we all become united and fight it together, because if there's only 10 people who go, they're pretty much probably just gonna be like, we can close our windows. We're not gonna be able to hear them.
No, fuck
But if
that.
we get 10,000 or 100,000, yeah, if we get a bunch of people, even 1,000 people, 500 people, that's gonna make them listen. That's gonna make them say, "What the hell is that many people doing out there?" And honestly, that's something that we really need, and we really need to get this going. And honestly, I'm super excited for it, and I might cancel a couple trips I have coming up just for that, because this is something that I believe in and I want to fight for, and this is something that I really want to go to.
So here's the number you have to think about right now. We have less than 9 months.
Yep.
Or about 9 months, give or take, until the industry is pretty much gone. PMTAs are going to be due, and then they're going to have a year to go through PMTAs, which will not happen. So this is the crucial time. This is crunch time. I mean, people always say vapors wait until the final hour before they get involved, and it has been proven. We have seen it. They will literally wait until the last hour and then all get active, because vapors are the people that are going to be in the house while the house is on fire and not realize it until their clothes catch on fire, and then they're running to get out the door. It's the reality. I'm not making fun of vapors. It's true.
Yeah.
It is coming up. I do not have a date. I'm not giving a date because we want to make sure that everything is right. We have to make sure we have the proper permits. We have to make sure we have the proper filings. This is going to be a legitimate rally. And we are going to do everything in our power to make sure we can bring as much people there as possible. So be ready for it. We'll probably announce it soon once we have a website and everything up. Be ready.
Yep. And
Bring
once
friends,
it's
bring
up,
family.
share it. Yep. And once it's up, share it everywhere. Every platform you have, everything possible, share it. And then even if you want to, go print out papers, put it in your local vape shop, so that way they can share it. Print out papers and put it on your desk at your office. That way when people walk into your office, like, what is that? And then you could talk to them about it. Because, I mean, they might not be vapor smokers, but they might be people who believe in freedom of speech and freedom of your rights. So, I mean, that's something you could easily do. So we're running down to the last 10 minutes, and that was something huge that we definitely need to hit on. But one thing I want to do before we leave is would you like to share your story on how you became a vapor and how you found vaping?
Sure. I'll give the quick abridged story because it's a very long process. But I started smoking at 8 years old. I used to just steal cigarettes from my grandfather, my mom, or whoever I could get my hands on them, just to try it. I didn't know what the hell it was. I was like, I see everyone doing this. Let me, fucking try it. I was hooked. By the time I was 12 years old, I was smoking a pack a day. By the time I was around 16, I was about a pack and a half. 18, I was about 2 packs. When I was on the streets for a little while, I had to choose between buying cigarettes or buying food. Most of the time, I ended up buying cigarettes. I got involved with vaping just at a kiosk at the mall because it was like, this, you can smoke this anywhere. And I was like, oh, well, that's really cool. I didn't realize what it was when I started doing it. And it was the older,
Ego pens.
not even ego pens. We're talking back when you would literally just unscrew the back of the cartomizer and then throw it out and screw a new one on.
Oh, before it was even 510 connections.
Yeah, before it was even 510 connectors, I was doing it.
That's like the original blue.
Before blue.
Yeah.
And then I started kind of getting back into it a little bit later on. And then I was able to pretty much quit after I was about 3 packs a day. And then I went through a little bit of a depression phase where I was actually going to kill myself. And if I had a cigarette, I would have killed myself because I was going to smoke my cigarette and then just do it. My vape stopped working. It hot-legged and coil broke on it, so I had to fix that. And I dove into YouTube. I was trying to figure out how to do this, and by the time I was done, I was like, oh, I focused all my energy on this. The depression left. And I started working at a shop shortly after that. Got involved with Advocacy around 2015, 2016. I met the Vaping Legion. I went down to DC for a protest that never ended up happening. If this door doesn't keep fucking closing, I'm going to be pissed. Sorry.
You're fine.
God damn it. Old house, old door. I went down to DC because Eric Hutchinson was doing a rally down there, and he was going to talk to politicians and get a whole big army of vapors. No one showed up. I was the only person in DC in front of the Capitol building for about 4 hours. I vowed then that would never happen to anyone or me again, so I got involved with the Vaping Legion. Got on the side of basically fighting for the industry, even from itself, exposing the scammers, exposing the dirty lab, the dirty e-liquid makers, the liars that were manufacturers, et cetera, et cetera. And then New York started getting hit with regulations left and right, and I got involved with that because vaping literally did save my life. And between working at shops, working at e-liquid companies, I really got involved with the industry, and I didn't want to see it go anywhere. So I started fighting. And I mean, shit, if I could go from 15 years smoking at the earliest stages that you really can smoke to vaping and being able to cut out, at one point I was down to 0, but I just enjoy my nicotine. Anyone can do it. And everyone needs to get involved. This isn't about me. This isn't about advocacy groups. This isn't about state associations. This is about us as vapors choosing a 95.5% less harmful alternative to get our nicotine and for the future generations, so they could live in a world where their mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, whatever, has an option. So they don't have to die from smoking related illnesses. I've had many family members of mine die from smoking related illnesses. I thought I was going to die from smoking. I was proud of it. Every cigarette I smoked, I was like, yep, that's one more minute, 5 more minutes off my life. And I just kept smoking. Now, I live literally to fight for this industry. And, it's hard, it's stressful. But this is something worth fighting for.
It is very stressful. I will say that.
Yeah.
I've done advocacy for a while. I haven't been like the biggest person in advocacy for as long as you probably, but I mean, it is super stressful seeing we have the facts out there, but yet people can't open their eyes and looking at it. And here recently, I've actually seen some articles out there about how people are actually looking at those articles and they're actually saying, hey, well, yeah, vaping is actually a better alternative or actually is working and stuff like that. So, I mean, we are making a little bit of leadway, but we're not making the big push like we need to yet. So, I mean, hopefully this default thing can be the capital could be the big push that we need because we do need more.
So to give you an example, during the Barstool thing, which is still going on, I've gotten a lot of DMs from people, some of which were not even vapors, that are smokers, and they were afraid to try vaping because of the stigma. They were afraid to try vaping because of the propaganda that's been going around about it. But they said, after watching that video, I think I'm going to try going down to a vape shop and trying to quit smoking using vaping.
That's badass.
So that's why we do what we do.
Exactly.
That's why it is so important to get the public engaged with discussion and conversation and change their opinions, because they don't know anything about this. They just see what they're told.
Right.
So that's why I said get out of the echo chamber, get involved with the general public, talk to them, talk to family members. It says 6 degrees of separation unites the world. Well, if we all talk to 6 people about vaping every day that were non-vapors, think of the outcome. Think of the effect that would cause. You never know who someone knows, too. There's been many times I've talked to people and they were like, oh, shit, Representative so-and-so, I hang out with him every Sunday and play poker. Yeah, I'll talk to him. I'll get you a meeting. That's why it is so important to engage the general public.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, changing one person's mind, like, and even if you get that one person where like you're vaping outside and they're like, that's worse for you. If you walk away from that right there and you know the facts, like if you don't know the facts, then yes, I honestly tell them no, it is not. It's 95% healthier and safer for you. I can find facts for you. I do not have them off the top of my head. But if you know the facts and you have them in your hands right then and there, that is honestly the best and easiest place to convert someone's mind. Because, I mean, honestly, you can't change their mind by what you're saying. If you have facts and they want to change their mind, then yes, they can change their mind. Like I've done it tons of times. I have the facts, I have the links, I have everything. I will sit down and walk you through it. But if you just throw, like Shane said, if you throw too much at them at one time, like here's 20 links, they're going to be like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? I'm not reading all this. Is going to be hours of reading. But if you actually walk them through it and show them points, or you have like a PowerPoint or something that you can just show them. Or
Tell me your story.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, smoking at 8 and being addicted by 12, that's honestly that's a huge story right there. That's huge.
You tell a story because we as society, we're very relatable. That's one of the things that they tell you is you have to relate to the person that you're either trying to sell something to or you're trying to change their mind about something. You have to relate to them. So, I refuse to believe that there is a single person on this earth that has not been affected by somebody dying from smoking. So you start off that conversation, my great-grandmother was a smoker and she died. If vaping was around and I could give it to her then, she might be alive to this day. And people go, wow, I really wish my grandparents didn't die or my mom or my dad didn't die from smoking.
Yep.
I was a smoker. I quit using vaping. Oh, well, isn't vaping, even worse for you? No, it's not. Royal College of Physicians, the same organization that said that smoking causes cancer 20 to 40 years before the FDA did, is saying that this is okay. I mean, granted, if you don't do anything, keep it that way. If you're not a smoker, I do not recommend vaping. It's just obviously it's 95% less harmful. You still have that 5% that if you're not a smoker, why even subject yourself to it?
Right.
Yeah.
But for smokers, it is a very viable option. Now, I'm not saying there aren't other options, but I mean, New England Journal of Medicine, 2 times more effective than traditional NRTs, nicotine replacement therapies, along with support. See, that's another great thing about this industry and about this community is we are a support group. You go down to a shop and you're a new vapor, or you're a smoker thinking about quitting, you can walk into that shop. People will give you advice. People will give you support. They'll say, hey, man, I've been there. I still go in shops, and I'll have someone come in and be like, I just do my coils and my juice. And I could tell they haven't been vaping for that long. Hey, how long you been vaping? About 2 weeks, a month, and I'm like, hey, that's awesome. Is it helping? Are you cutting down? Just engaging conversation with people, and it gives them that support. It gives them that safety net that they feel, okay, I'm not alone in this. We're talking about taking people that smoking has been their everything, their best friend, their emotional support, their medication, whatever they want to justify smoking as, and now they're throwing it away and picking up a new product. They're going to be very iffy about it. So it's about helping other people. If you go down to vape shops, which I always say, support your local vape shops, educate your local vape shops if they don't know, and if they don't care, move on to the next shop.
Yep.
But support the new smokers coming in, support the new vapors, be helpful. Shops, their hands are tied due to the August 8th, 2016 gag order. Eric from Deep Cuts, awesome guy.
I was about to bring that up.
He started out here in Long Island, walking around, going to shops with a sign that says, due to the regulations, these shops cannot help you with anything. I am a consumer. I can help you. You can ask me anything. That is what we need in this industry. And I love Eric for doing it. I did it for a couple of shops when I wasn't working. I had a lot of people do it for me. They set it up in like shifts. I had someone in the afternoon, someone at night. That's what community is about. Now we need to take that same feeling of community and focus it into fighting for this industry.
Yep. And right once you started talking about it, I was like, man, I know exactly where he's going with this with Eric. And I mean, I know Shane does it at his local vape shop. I know he doesn't walk in there with a sign and stuff, but I mean, he's super helpful. Like me, if I'm in my local vape shop, they see I'm one of those vapors who carry around multiple setups. I have all mine set up in front of me, sitting behind the counter with the vape shop owners and everything. So they think I must work there. So like, oh, hey, you must work here. I'll be rebuilding a coil or something while I'm sitting there. And they'll be like, oh, hey, I need some help. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll help you. Now, I can't go back there and actually help them, but I can give them advice. And that's one thing I love to do is I've tried almost every juice at our vape shop. I've honestly helped them come up with some of the different flavor profiles they have whenever they first started. And there's tons of flavors in the vape shop that I've actually came up with in a buddy of mine. And even the ones like from Vapetasia and all the other companies that are up on the wall. I'm like, hey, well, what's your favorite beverage, or do you like a favorite dessert? They're like, oh, well, I can't really find a flavor that I like, and it's kind of pushing me away from vaping. I'm like, well, what's a flavor you love? Or if I see a smoker, what's a flavor you love? What's your favorite beverage? Do you like alcoholic beverages? Is there a beverage you like lemonade, or do you like custards? Do you like pumpkin pie? They're like, why? I'm like, well, there's pretty much any flavor you can think of that you can vape on instead of sitting there smoking a cigarette.
Right.
And it blows their mind that, wait, there's a pumpkin pie cheesecake flavor. There's a peanut butter custard flavor. Like, dude, yes. There's anything you want out there.
And one thing Reaper said in there that really impacted me was when he was talking to the new vapor. Have you cut down? Is it helping you cut down? We don't want people to think you're going to pick this up and immediately stop smoking. I was a dual user for almost 6 months before I completely quit. We have to let people know that it's okay at first. You're still
it's
going
okay in
to.
General.
Yeah.
Every cigarette that you don't have due to vaping is better.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it takes you a month, a year, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you go from 2 packs a day down to a pack and a half a day, bravo. Keep it up.
Don't
feel guilty if you have that one cigarette.
Yep.
Don't feel guilty if I don't have my vape on me. I'm going to go out and buy a pack. Because what's going to happen is you're going to enjoy the vape more.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened to me.
It will just happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that actually happened to me in New Mexico when I went snowboarding. I actually gave my meat pot away because of that. I was on a lift with someone and they said, hey, well, yeah, you're a vapor? I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, that's so cool. I vape too, as he's smoking a cigarette. And his buddy asked for one too. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you're a vapor. He's like, well, I forgot mine at home. I'm like, dude, that's a shitty excuse. You left it at home because you were away from the wife and you wanted to get a cigarette. I'm like, dude, if you will stop smoking that cigarette right now. I'm not even gonna make you throw it away. I will give you this meat pod full of juice. This juice will last you the rest of the weekend, most likely. Well, I mean, are you sure? I'm like, dude, if you throw that cigarette down right now, I will do it. And I gave him my meat pod, and they shared it. I'm like, dude, it's whatever. I mean, it's a used meat pod that I had. I mean, if you want it, whatever, I'll give it to you if you stop smoking that damn cigarette. And he did it, and I was like, okay, here you go. He's like, no way. And I had a little bit of juice left, and I was like, here, take it with you. I mean, I can get more juice.
Yeah, I just don't want people to feel ashamed if they are dual using. You know, a lot of people will, because it's like, okay, well, this vaping is supposed to make me quit, and I'm still smoking cigarettes. You know, not necessarily ashamed, but discouraged, I think, is a better word to look for.
No, I would say ashamed, because think about it. While we were smokers and current smokers now, they get shamed all the time. They get looked down upon. Oh, you're a smoker. Ew.
Yeah.
You know, now you have someone that's trying to quit smoking, go to vaping, so they're dual using, and a lot of vapors look down on dual users. So they're like, well, shit, I'm getting shit for trying to make the switch over. I just can't seem to do it. I might as well just go back to what I know and what I love.
Exactly.
And we have the same issue now, is we got shamed as smokers, and now we're being shamed as vapors. And that's my huge issue. I don't believe in shaming anyone for a choice that they choose, you know, if they want to ingest something in their body. Again, I'm very libertarian. I don't give a fuck what you do. Just don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Exactly. Yes. And that another thing, like how Shane said, how that's something that he really heard out of that whole story was, or that really popped out to him was how's it working? How's it helping you? And to me, I'm not saying I'm an industry leader or an industry whatever, but I like to think of myself as one, because what I like to do if I'm helping someone, if they're like, oh, well, it's not enough, and they're at a 6 or a 3 milligram nicotine, I'm like, you know what? Why don't you go jump it up then, and then work your way down? Because I mean, if you start off at a 3, it's going to be hard for you to stop. So I mean, if you start off a little bit higher and you're like, okay, this is satisfying, this is what I need, and you find that perfect one. Because I like to give, like, if I have half empty bottles, I'm not vaping no more, that they're like, hey, this is something I would like, this is something I'm going to give you. Hey, dude, this flavor is really good, I'm going to give it to you, so that way you can try it. And if I do that and they're like, well, it's not enough, well, here, I'll give you the website, or I'll send you to the shop where they can show you where you can get a 6 or a 9 or a 12, whatever it is you're using.
Right.
And then once you start getting to that, then I'm gonna say, okay, hey, well, do you think it's too much now? Do you think you can start stepping down? And if they start stepping down, to me, that's progress, and that's something that's really good. And like you said, even if I have a buddy at work who I gave a Boulder Rock, and I mean, $10 pod system, whatever. Here you go, have it. I did the review on it. I don't want it no more. I don't really use pod systems. Take it. Are you sure? Yeah. Here's some liquids too. I don't use salt nicks. Take them. Okay. And then I go out there, I see him smoking. I'm like, hey man, well, is vaping still helping you? Well, yeah, I'm down to only 4 cigarettes a day instead of a pack. I'm like, there you go, dude. That's good. He's like, well, you're not gonna get mad at me because you gave me something and it's not working. I'm like, dude, I'm honestly happy that you're cutting down.
You went down from a pack to 4 cigarettes. Shit.
I'm like, dude, if you do that every day still for the rest of your life, and you slowly start working down to 1 cigarette a day, or even if you just keep smoking 4 cigarettes a day, yeah, I'm still like, hey, dude, you should not smoke. But I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's helping you. You're adding, or you're not taking away life from you. Because I mean, people that have kids, people out there have families. That right there is not taking life away from you. And to me, that's something that's huge, and something I love to see is people not. And like you said, it sucks seeing people get bashed on for being a dual user. It's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I mean, do support them, because the vape community is super, super supportive. Vape shops, Discords, Facebook groups, Instagram personalities, whatever you want to call everyone. Like the Discord group for me, for the Vape Stew crew, huge support group. Any problem I have, personal or vape related, answers quick. Frames Janklin in the chat right now. Michelle, Logan, all of them. Any kind of questions. Clown Vapes, our sponsor for this channel. I started making coils not that long ago. Any kind of question I have, if I start getting frustrated with it, he's like, dude, just take a breather, take your time. It doesn't even have to be about that. It could be like, hey, dude, I'm having cravings for cigarettes. I need something. Well, why don't you try this flavor? It tastes like almost like a cigarette, or it has like a tobacco-y taste. Why don't you try this? Everyone is so supportive in the vape community, and that's where I'm like, how do we look at smokers as being the asshole, but then the ex-smokers, and this is something that was brought up a while back, is, well, those people are the ex-smokers, the vapors, but yet they're not assholes.
Well,
we see
so
they're supportive.
here's the thing, and so obviously, if you've been in the industry for a while, the industry has been burnt many times by people.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, quick shameless promo, Vaping Legion Network tonight, 11 p.m. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Prepare for full-on hurtness. With that being said, why is there so much apathy? Why is there so many problems in the vape industry? Well, it's very simple. When we were smokers, did y'all go to any hearings about, nope, we can't smoke here, you can't do this? We said, nope, fuck it, we're just going to smoke where we can, it doesn't matter. We didn't get involved politically when it came to smoking because it was something that we just did. That attitude has really kind of moved over to the vape industry because you are dealing with a lot of ex-smokers who didn't fight for anything when they were smoking, and they're not going to really try to fight for anything while they're vaping now. Two, the only difference between vaping and smoking is that it is 95.5% less harmful at its core. Take away the mods, take away the teams, take away the bullshit. It is literally just a less harmful way of getting your nicotine. Now, smoking did not discriminate. You had the best people in the world smoke cigarettes, and you had the scum of the earth smoke cigarettes. Just like now, we have some of the best people in the world vaping, but we have some of the scum of the earth vaping. The problem is that we took this as a bond. We took this as a family. Oh, you're a vapor? Yeah, you're one of us.
Yeah.
And we let our guard down. We forgot that there are scumbags out there that may vape.
Yep.
Hell, I know someone the other day, a couple of weeks ago, drug dealer, sold heroin. But guess what? He vaped because he didn't smoke. So am I going to go, hey, brother, what's up? No, you're a fucking dirtbag. You're selling fucking heroin. So we have to remember, while we have this community, while we have this vape family, there are people that are just bad people in general. So when you go out and you talk to people, trust your instincts. Keep your stranger danger, whatever the hell you want to call it, on. And just because they vape doesn't make them a good person. Just because they say they're for this industry does not make them a good person. I mean, shit, we've been hit by hundreds of thousands of dollars that the industry has lost because of scammers, because of people pushing their own agenda. I mean, everyone claims to be the next savior of vaping. Guess what? No one is going to be our savior. No one is going to be our messiah. No one is going to come out there and say, I have all the answers and do anything. No, it's going to take us, the people, the consumers, the manufacturers, the shops. It's going to take the advocates, the activists, the average vapors, Grandma Betty down the block that goes to the vape shop to buy her coils and her juice every week. That's who it's going to take. No one is going to do this for us. We have to do it ourselves.
Right.
Yep. And that's something Shane always says too, is don't make it sit back and don't sit back and expect someone to do it for you. Get out there and do it yourself too. Get off your ass.
And the other thing is, it doesn't matter if you vape this or if you vape this. I don't care. Make sure you get out and do your part. Do something. You don't have to
just
do
don't
everything.
Use clones.
Yeah.
There's no reason for clones.
If don't depend on anybody else, and it's going along with the same thing Reaper said. Don't depend on anybody else to do it for you. Make sure your voice is heard. Let your voice be heard, and that's the moniker. That's my moniker. That's the way I've always said it. Make sure that people know your stance. and that's all you have to do.
Yep.
And people will join you. You just have to be. You have to make
Instead
sure.
of thinking,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, make sure you're around like-minded people that will have your back, especially if you're willing to go out on the front lines and fight for this industry.
Amen. Every single one of my brothers, we are on the front lines. We are side by side. But what I was going to say was, instead of assuming that everyone is going to do something, assume that no one is going to do something.
Great.
Assume that you are the only person that can do something. Because if you think someone else is going to take care of it, then that person's going to think someone else is going to take care of it. Then you think that person, someone else is going to take care of it. It never gets done. Be proactive, not reactive, and get involved.
Yep. So we're running down to the end of it. We ran a little late because Poon Sauce is not doing his show today. So he's over there having fun at IVC with Dan and all of them. So we're running to the end. Shane, any last words? Reaper, any last words? Promotions? Yes, promote your show. I do not care about promotions. Go ahead and throw out anything you want. I don't mind.
Again, make sure if you guys have not yet subscribed, go to the Vaping Legion Network on YouTube. Subscribe. It is not a it's not a review. It's not a, it's real stuff that's going on in the industry.
Yes.
It's the stuff that no one else wants to talk about. It's the stuff that everyone wants to pretend isn't happening. We expose it. We show the truth. It's something that's very serious. Tonight is a very serious show. Tonight is something that a lot of people probably won't like because they want to believe in a Messiah. They want to believe that something is going to be helpful, and we show that it's really not going to be. If you haven't yet, the only reason I say this is because I'm probably going to be using a lot of Instagram probably to promote things for advocacy. My Instagram's pretty much not about me anymore. It's about doing the right thing and advocacy. Reaper Vapors, that's ORZ. And then you can find me on Facebook, Matthew Elliott. Look for the half face with the Legion logo at the bottom of it. And again, go out, get involved, talk to your politicians, talk to your representatives, talk to non-vapors, join CASA, get involved. I cannot stress that enough, and get ready for the DC rally.
If you have all your links, if you want to, you could throw them in chat. And if you want to send them to me after the show, I'll add them in the description as well. Because I want everyone.
I'll send them to you because my computer likes to not work.
Yeah.
And like he said, though, his show or their show, the Vaping Legion Network, he's like you said, it's stuff that people don't want to discuss, but it's stuff that people have thoughts of, and that's one of the reasons why I really like it. Mechmod Mike was the one who turned me on to it not that long ago. Whenever I was looking for new shows to watch and everything, they take stuff that everyone is thinking about, and if you're out there and you say you have not thought about it and you've not second guessed it, you are a damn liar, because they take stuff that you are thinking about but you don't want to speak on because you don't want to make assumptions. They will make the assumption and they will sit there and they'll say, you know what, this needs to be discussed because this is something that could hurt us. And if we're not discussing it now, then whenever it's too late, we're going to be like, hey, well, we should have said something about this. I always had my about it. Well, yeah, they're the people who are going out there and they're saying, hey, we have our thoughts about it now. We're not going to wait till later. We're going to say it now. So definitely go check out their show. That's a show where they honestly voice the hell out of their opinion, and and that's something I love because it's stuff that we have in our minds, but we don't want to speak about. But they're the ones sitting there saying, you know what we have in our minds, we are going to speak about it. We are going to use our platform. We are going to throw up the question for it because it's stuff that we need to question. It's definitely stuff that we need to question, a lot of it. So definitely go check them out. Shane, anything you want to say or promote or anything?
Well, we got Weekday Wisdom. Sorry about last week. Had some internet potato. So hopefully that will be fixed. This show went well, so hopefully that one will go well too. Hopefully I'll have a new video up, and my channel's not as outspoken as the Legion, but it's kind of following the same lines of, I don't do reviews and things like that. I want to get the news out there to the people so that they have the most current thing that they can have. So,
Yep.
but thank you all for tuning in. It was great to see this many people in chat. Old faces, new faces. Thank you all for being here, and always remember to let your voice be heard.
Yeah, it's always great to see new faces. I want to thank everyone out there in chat. I want to thank all the old faces, new faces. Like Shane said, I love seeing new faces. Turn your friends onto this show because, we like to have guests who will come out here and actually voice their opinion and get stuff out. So I definitely love it. It's super awesome to see more people in this chat and the channel growing and everything. And like I always say, I'm doing all these reviews for y'all so that way y'all don't make bad purchases on stuff y'all might not like. So I definitely have some reviews coming up this week. I might have another favorite coming up. I'm not too sure, but I do got some reviews coming up this week, so stay tuned for those. Go follow all of our social medias. They will be in the description. I will have everything for the Reaper and the Vaping Legion in there as well. So make sure y'all definitely go click on those. Go give him a follow and go give the Vaping Legion Network a subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that way y'all can be aware when they do have a video coming out or when they are going live and everything like that.
We do them late, usually around 11 o'clock because of, jobs and everything.
Yeah, and even if that's too late for people, watch the replay.
Yeah, watch the replay. The replays are good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thanks for having me on. Seriously, I had a lot of fun, and thank you for letting me voice my opinion about some things, so I'm not staring at a Facebook Live chat thing for an hour at a time like I normally do. It was definitely great to have some in-depth conversations and discussions about topics that are going on, and I love what you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming on, man. We greatly appreciate it.
Oh yeah, time is money, and you're spending your time and money with us right now, so we definitely appreciate it. So we hope to see everyone next week, but until then, let's just vape on. Let's get out there. Let's get off our asses, and let's do something. Like Matt said up here, let's go out there and let's act like no one is doing anything, and we are the person doing something. Do as much as you can for this community that has saved a lot of our lives, and that is adding minutes, and we're not taking away minutes, days, years away from our lives. So we definitely need to make sure we're out there and we're getting some stuff. We're getting everything out there to the general public and everything. But until then, we'll see y'all next week on the Weekend Wisdom. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for showing your support.
Bye.